If all goes according to plan, I'm so sorry, it says teachers, it should say staff. My apologies. Ideally, by the end of the session, I'm hoping you can do a few things. Understand kind of basic level, how does Google Drive work? Get the difference between folders and nested folders and shared drives and my drive and shared with me and all the different things. Search and find what you're looking for, share things with people. And then instead of always making a copy of things, understand that we have what are shortcuts and kind of how you might want to use them versus always just making a copy. So if all goes to plan, this is what I'm hoping you'll get out of the next hour and a little bit. So the first thing, and just so you guys know, I won't use the slides all the time. I try to model things live. So you're like, oh, this is how you do it. This is where you click. This is what it looks like. But I'll come back to the slides just to make sure I'm not skipping things. So I'm actually going to leave the slides and we're going to go rogue. So, all right. So I think probably safe to say most of us use Chrome because everything we do at work is through Google, and Chrome and Google, all the things, Drive, Docs, Slides, Forms, Sheets, etc. They just work better when you use Chrome. So if you are like me and you have a school or work Google account, and then you have a home personal Google account, it's really easy to get them confused and mixed up. So what I recommend doing is go to whatever tab you happen to be in and look for your profile. So mine is my picture that I have on everything. Some of you might just see initials, but it is this little circle icon. Normally it wouldn't say relaunch to update up here, but I guess there was an update today and I didn't notice it. So you're going to click on this little circle to see who you were signed in as. And this is how you would switch. So not that I'm encouraging going to a personal account while you're at work, but if you needed to, this is the way you would do it so that you're not getting accounts and things kind of mixed up as you're trying to switch between like my home Google Drive and my work Google Drive. So I'm not saying you should go do personal things at work. Like, please no, that's not what I'm saying. But sometimes I add things to my personal drive on accident and then I need to share it with myself, my work account. So I try to just keep them separate like this. If you're like, oh, Jessie, I only have one profile, you can go to add, and then it will let you add up a new person. So I think of these as my two different selves. I have my work self, which is RUSD Jessie. That's what she's called up here. And then I have my like cactus and plant personal Jessie account. If you are changing accounts here, like inside, see, notice how I'm in like the Google Slides tab, Google Slides window. If you are adjusting here, that's where you kind of run the risk of getting your accounts all mixed up. So just to try to make your Google life easier, I would try to do it here. This one at the top in the actual like Google section, a Google Chrome section, not the Google Slides section. And then if you're finding like, yeah, okay, like I'm not sure, I don't know what's going on, you can always hit the three dots right here. And you can see again here, it says I'm signed in as Jessica, my RUSD self. And then you'll notice when I roll over that, it tells me I'm signed in as this email and syncing is on. So all my passwords, all my bookmarks, all my everything from my work account will show up here. And then like I have a Chromebook at home, I can sync my work account there and it's same thing. So it's almost like it doesn't matter what device I'm on, as long as I'm on my same account and everything is synced, like we're good to go. This is kind of its own little, I don't know, preface, so to speak. Can I pause and answer any questions about kind of your different Chrome selves before we dive in specifically to Drive? Okay, make sure my speakers are up. Oh yeah, speakers are up. Okay, I don't see any messages. So I think if we are good, then we're going to talk about Drive. So like all things Google, there's a bunch of ways to access everything. I typically do it what in my head is old school. I make a new tab and I type Drive and it knows I go to drive.google.com all the time. So you can make a new tab and you can just type drive.google.com. Or if you are in a Google thing, you can click the little waffly icon and then you can find Drive from here. Granted, it's going to take me back to the same page because I was already in Drive. And then once you're here, it's all going to look the same. Like you may have different parts of Drive open, but it's all Drive. Okay. And then if you wanted also, you can either bookmark this or kind of star it, whatever it looks like for you. And you can have it live up here in the bookmarks bar, or if you have like, you know, drop down pieces for bookmarks. But I for whatever reason, typically new tab, Drive, and then it just stays open the entire time I'm at work because I'm constantly accessing Drive. So how to get here, click on the waffle, go to Drive or drive.google.com. Once you are here, there's a lot going on. So if I click home, it will look very different probably for all of us. So home is something that keeps changing. Like I went through when I was prepping for today and I had to redo a bunch of my screenshots because things change all the time. So I just noticed this one actually this morning. They used to have something called priority and then it was called something else. And now I'm seeing suggested folders. So Google is real creepy and real smart. And it knows, oh, you're in here a bunch. So like these are all the classes I teach, or it's my extended day, this job right now. So it's like, oh, hey, you're in these folders all the time. Are you sure you maybe aren't looking for this one? It's just trying to save me some time. And then same as you scroll down, you'll see what's called suggested files. And these are things typically that either I've just recently used or that I open all the time. So you'll notice this one right here. I wonder if I do this. Okay. See on this one, it says you've opened frequently. I open this document, no joke, like every single day because it's where I do all my bio planning. Me and my teacher buddy, we have it where we can see the plans together and we just kind of update the same document. So we always try to keep it in here. It's live. It's always changing, marking off the days as we go kind of thing. But then this one, it's like, oh, you edited this at 3:28. You probably need this again. You just barely looked at it. So you might want to come back here. New things that I've worked on today at school. And then really some of them are going to be frequently as well. So usually I have a chemistry one of these also that pops up. And then if you're like, yeah, I don't see the one I'm looking for, it will give you more of them. But Google's just trying to help. So that's home. Activity, it kind of gives you this summary of things that have been going on. I honestly never ever use this tab, but it's there if you'd like it. So it tells me like, oh, someone shared this with me, or maybe someone edited this. But again, I never ever use activity because I don't really care what's going on behind the scenes. I care like, what am I working on? What do I need to do? Workspaces is a way for you to keep maybe documents that you're working on like right now today, or for this one project, for this assignment that you're doing for students, to kind of make it in one little clump. So it doesn't matter where it lives in Drive. If you wanted to add it to a workspace, it just kind of keeps it all nice and anchored together. And then you can group it by, this is project A for this class, and this is project B for the other class, but they're still kind of, like available at the ready. You don't have to go look for it. So you can see I don't have any. I don't use workspaces. I typically just know, okay, I need to go here, 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 and I'll just go find it. But this is there if you are interested. My Drive is probably where you'll spend most of your time. It's where I spend most of my time. And the way Drive is organized is typically it's alphabetical. Folders are first. And then as you scroll down, any loose documents that you have are down at the bottom. But again, they should be alphabetical. So I have learned a little hack that if I put characters first, or emojis, which I'll show you in a little bit, if I put characters or emojis, it zooms it to the very front of the alphabet, so to speak. So AHS Science normally would not be first, but that's where I keep almost everything. This is the folder I've shared with all my teacher, fellow chemistry, fellow bio teachers, and we kind of work in this one together. But I wanted it to be first, so I did @sign, so I knew it would be first in my list. It's also color coded so it stands out, and I'll show you how to do that if you want to color code yours as well. And then same thing with documents. I was like, I need to be able to find my ILE extended day stuff. So I did !!!. And then you'll notice after that it does numbers, and then it starts doing letters. So it goes characters. I'm sure they have a fancy name. I don't know what it is. Characters, then numbers, and then letters. Folders are first, and then files are second. Share drives are their own beautiful, amazing thing. And we'll talk at length, within reason. We'll talk at length later on what they are. But share drives are all the things that you have been added to. So these are all the share drives I am a part of. Shared with me, literally anything that has been shared with me will show up here. So, oh, didn't know that was there. Anything that has been like shared with Jay Gerbata, or sometimes even there are things that are like anyone with RUSD can see this. And so it is technically shared with me because my email is in the group RUSD. So you'll see all kinds of crazy stuff. If you start looking through your shared with me, sometimes it gets a little scary. So I try never, ever, ever to access this. I will usually go search other places, go back to links or search the whatever it's called up here. But I try not to venture into shared with me very often. It's kind of a scary place. Recent is just that, things that you've edited recently. And typically it's in most recent. And then as you go down, it's older, 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 older. But that's the only like filtering that happens here. Starred, if you've told Google, hey, this is important, it'll land here. I used to use this all the time, and now I rarely ever use it, but it's there if you want it. Starred. And then spam, honestly, I don't ever look at, but I can't imagine there's much spam in Google Drive. I know there's spam in email, but like I said, I've never really looked in here before. And then admin console, that's above my pay grade. I don't ever go in there. I'm not an admin for Google Drive. I'm just me. So a quick rundown of the things that you have in Drive. While we're touring, at the top is where you're going to search. So this is if you wanted to type, I don't know, biology, and it's going to give you everything that talks about biology. So we'll go in a little bit of how to search Drive. And then these lines that have like the sliders on them, this is if you know, okay, I know I'm looking for a presentation and it's owned by me and it talks about biology, but like I can't remember what I called it. And Google is pretty fantastic, and it will only return slideshows that I own to talk about biology. So it doesn't have to have biology in the title necessarily, but if biology is somewhere in there, this is what it will return. So there's also some pretty cool search things you can do here. Support if you need extra help or you like, oh, how do I do this? And then settings. So your Google Drive might not look like mine. So what you can do is you can head into settings and then you can say, where do I want my Google Drive to start me? At the home page or the My Drive? Do you want workspaces or no thank you? Do you want light or dark? I find I'm liking dark better these days, but personal preference, whatever you like. How kind of compact would you like it? Do you want your PDFs to open in a new tab every time or as a preview? Actually, I'm going to change that. That drives me crazy. I have to do that. And then uploads. Okay, so this one is worth mentioning separately, I feel. If you upload a document that is not in a Drive format, like a doc or a sheet or a slide, but let's say you upload a PowerPoint or a Word document, Google can automatically convert it for you if you would like. I'm all on board with Google. I don't think I've ever opened Microsoft Word on my computer, but I know not everybody is like that. So if you do not want it to convert automatically, you would just leave this box empty. I'm all, yes, Google, do the thing, make my life easier, please. Partially too, because I have students who English is a second language for them and they really struggle. And I have learned, and this may have changed because it's been like a year since this happened to me, but if I'm using something that's saved as a Word doc in Google Drive, it will not automatically translate the document for me. But if I convert it to a Google Doc, now it can translate it. So I've decided, yeah, I don't even want to mess with it. Please just turn everything to a Google Doc or slide or form or whatever. And then offline, that's so rarely an issue. I don't have it synced to the device. I would rather just use the cloud. If we're having a bad internet day, I'll figure something else out. A file preview. So if you want to see like a little preview pop up, you can. And then these other things are just kind of personal preference. So all based off what you would like to see personally. Question, I still use Microsoft Word a lot when I convert. The format gets all messed up. The answer is probably no, but there's a way to get around that happening. Not that I'm aware of. Are you talking like if you have tables or something? Or if you have fancy?
Yeah, like if there's any kind of image added, a little mini screenshot added, anything at all, like especially when I go from columns, it's set up as a test and I have 2 columns, in Word, it always, I'm a huge fan of Word. I'm biased. So I was just curious. I'm sure it's because you're going from one format to another, but it always messes up the format. So like I said, I figured the answer was no, but.
Let me write myself a note and I will look into it. Are you T Castillo?
I'm Tara. Yes. Castillo from Miller. Yes.
But no middle initial, just T Castillo?
No middle, just T Castillo. Oh, I see what you're asking. Yeah, correct.
Sorry, I went to get some paper. I'm going to write myself a note and look into it, but I think you're correct. I don't think there's a way to make that not happen.
Gotcha.
Let me write you down and I will look into it. Yeah, Nancy, same. So T Castillo. Okay, I made myself a note. I will look into it and then I'll let you know what I find. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate it. Okay, so we toured settings. We talked about uploads. Okay. So folders and folders and folders and folders and how to do that. So I'm very transparent. I will let you see my drive. There's some scary junk drawers in here. There's some really like, I'm so proud of this organization. I got everything to show you and I don't mind. Like you can come see inside my drive. It's all good. So here on home and activity and shared drives, you can't control really what it looks like and how it's organized. But inside your My Drive, you have complete control. So you'll notice I have some folders and then I just have a hot mess. I don't take the time. Heck, some of the stuff I didn't even take the time to rename. I have so many copy of. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I'll find it when I need it. It's okay. No big deal. So I've got some junk drawer style, a picture of my family, right? Like it's a hot mess in here. But then I also have some where, okay, if I go into AHS science, I've got standards-based grading, I've got chemistry, bio, my tech lead stuff, Avid trainings, beginning of the year, like all these different, okay, so sub-plans I'm like particularly proud of. So inside AHS science, because that's the only time I'm going to need a sub is if I'm teaching, here's all last year's. Don't judge me, there's a whole bunch of them. But they're like beautifully organized. They all have the same like proper name system. Like it's great. Then these are all my current ones so far. So that is kind of when I say folders are nested, think those like Russian stacking dolls. You have a folder and a folder and a folder and a folder and a folder. Usually that's the way my brain works best. And so that's how I've tried to organize things. So if I go into science and bio, here's 2 years ago, here's last year. All the other stuff here is current. And then if I go in, okay, so last year when we were talking characteristics of life, great. Here's what we did. Here's the stuff I used. That works really well for my brain. So if you're like, oh, yes, Jessie, sign me up. How do I do that? What you would do is let's say, I don't know, you're starting from scratch and you're like, great, I'm at my drive. I want to make a new folder. And I'm going to call this test 926 nesting folder. And I hit create. Like, but Jessie, it just went right there. Like, what the heck? So what I can do is I can take this folder and I can drag it. I don't know, where do I want this to go? I'm going to drag this into AHS Science. Okay. And it's warning me because I have shared the entire AHS Science folder. Actually, that brings up a good point. Notice how there's a little person right here on the folder. That means I've shared this entire folder with somebody or with a group of people. So if I move this folder, Google's really smart and it's like, yo, hey, heads up. Everyone in AHS Science is going to be able to see test 926. Like, are you okay with that? I'm like, yeah, thanks, Google. I got you. So now if I open AHS Science, here's my test 926 meeting. I can also open this. And let's say I'm, I don't know, adding a new whatever. So I'm already in the folder I want to add something else to, another test nesting folder. So you can make folders and folders and folders and folders and folders if that's what your brain would like. And really, it's all personal preference. So the reason I keep saying if it works for your brain, it's like it's all up to you. I'm half, right? Like Dream would like to be organized in everything. If you walked into my room right now, though, you would see just some piles of stuff. And so I understand both pieces, but really it's whatever works best for you. So if you wanted to nest, that's how you would do it. Okay, so we already did this piece, new folder, name it, and then you can kind of place it where you want it to go. And then what you'll see up here too, notice, oh, I'm pointing at my screen like you guys can see that. On the left is my drive. So I'm currently located in my drive. Then I'm in AHS Science. Then I'm in test nesting folder. Now, if I were to open this one, another test nesting folder, notice it gives me ... right here. So I'm in my drive. Then I'm in AHS Science. Then I'm in test. Now I'm in another test. So if you ever get lost, you can look up here at the top and it'll tell you like where you are. It'll help you unlose yourself. But nesting is just one of the organization pieces if you are interested. Can I pause for a second? I need to grab some water, but is there anything I can answer, clarify, help with.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me stop my Keenan. Multitasking.
Oh, I hear you.
So the other day I was trying to move our field trip form. I wanted to keep it in my drive, but I also wanted to put it in our Woodcrest first grade shared drive. Do I have to make a copy of it and then put it in there, or is there just a way? Because I feel like if I move it to our shared drive, is it still going to be in my drive?
No, it will not be in your drive. Before I accidentally lie to you, let me test something really quickly. I feel like, actually, I think I did that backwards. Okay, so I'm going to take something. Okay, ILE extended day. I'm going to try to see if I can organize, and then it's called add a shortcut, but oh, is it going to work in a share drive? It might work. Let me check before I tell you, yes, it's going to work, and then I lie to you. This is the way you would want to do it. But, oh, whoops. Okay, people need access. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Add shortcut. Yes, that's fine. Okay. Did it work? Is it here? Yes. Okay, so here's what you're going to do. You're going to add what's called, oh, I missed something. You're going to add what's called a shortcut, and it allows it to live in your drive, but be accessible from a shared drive. So what I did is I tested this document that I think only me and Jennifer have ever had access to. And I'm taking this, and I clicked on the 3 dots. So you would do this in your drive where you have the field trip form.
Okay.
You would click on the 3 dots, and then you would click on organize, or hover over. I'm sorry, I misspoke there. Hover over organize, add shortcut, and then you can tell it where you want it to live.
Okay.
And you may have to adjust share settings, because like mine, it was like, oh, hang on, are you sure? Because all these people are going to be able to see it. Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine. It doesn't bother me. And then when I went into my shared drive for chemistry, now here's my document.
Okay.
So it still lives in my drive, but it's accessible from your share drive. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you are very welcome. Okay. Anything else? Now is a fabulous time, and thank you. This is the most questions I've had in a long time, and it's so nice. Thank you. What else can I help with right now? Okay, cool. So if we are back in our My Drive location, I only have this one color coded because I'm afraid if I color code everything, then the colors will be too rampant. They won't help at all. So if you are interested in changing the colors of your folders, you're going to click on the 3 dots, and then you're going to go to organize. But instead of add shortcut this time, you can choose whatever color you would like. And then all it does is it just tries to make that kind of stand out a bit more. Can they delete it by accident? They can delete the shortcut. So I don't know, Nancy, if you saw what I did, but I went in and I'm going to organize, add my shortcut back. Okay, so in Share Drive, let's say I'm accessing and I'm like, what the heck? Why is this in here? This doesn't belong here. If I delete it, it tells me the shortcut will be deleted, but it doesn't delete the actual document. It just deletes the little shortcut. So you know how on your desktop you can have the shortcut to Google Chrome or shortcut to whatever? If you trash that, it doesn't always delete the whole application. It just deletes your little quick version on your desktop. It's kind of like that. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, so I don't need that in there. I'm going to get rid of that one. Okay, so colors. And then I have this way at the bottom, but I feel like it kind of goes with colors too. So if you are interested, I have only ever used this website called Emoji Copy. And I'm going to link it right here in case anybody wants to play with it. This website I use to kind of liven up, make things easier to find. So if I go into my AHS Science and you look at my standards-based grading, my chemistry, my holidays, my Ignite Her Mind, my bio, they all have emojis on them. So someone, I don't know, a long time ago taught me if you go to that Emoji Copy, and maybe there's other websites out there like that, that's just the one I happen to know of, and you copy your emojis, you can paste them in like characters. This also works in Google Classroom for any of my teachers. If you want to kind of liven up your stream a little bit, you can add emojis into your classroom. But these emojis count as the same as like characters. They go at the beginning of the alphabet. So now it's easier to find the folder I'm looking for. And I just think it looks kind of cool. It makes it a little easier to find. So my DNA and my plant for bio, my test tube, I don't know, whatever else I have over there, math and something else for chemistry. So if you are trying to make things easier to find and you're like, yeah, colored folder, meh, but maybe the emojis or the characters will help kind of make it stand out a little bit to you. Okay, so we were at colors. Okay, share drive we talked about really quickly, but I want to go back and talk share drive for a second. And this one I'll just show you guys. I think the slide does it just as well as I could. So share drives are a place for files to live that are kind of independent of the owner. So I have a share drive with my chemistry people. I probably should have one with my bio people, but we have a share drive. And in the event that I leave the district, none of my files in that share drive become, I think I said my sentence really strangely. None of my files become like, sorry, this file's unavailable. They don't get deleted. They don't follow me because I'm adding them to the share drive. The organization owns the file, not Jesse. So if I leave and my Google account gets deactivated, my files don't disappear. They stay there. So I probably should have one with my bio people because then they're kind of there. I think the term is in perpetuity. They're like forever. Reasons you may have a share drive. Like you were saying, first grade team has one. I have one with my chemistry team. We have some for individual projects or events or teams of people. So it's just kind of another way to organize things. But what's really, really, really awesome is that you don't lose access to the file if the person that initially created it leaves, which is really, really, really nice in our world where sometimes there's a lot of turnover and you're like, oh, but they had this great thing and now they're gone and now I can't see it. But if you put it into a share drive, that doesn't happen. So just a heads up if you would like to use it. And then you can also use it too if you wanted, like this one says for templates. You could, in theory, make a share drive that's just like master copies of things. And then you can take it and you can add your name or your classroom number or your phone number, and you can kind of customize it to meet your needs instead of always like file, make a copy of whatever your teacher friend sends you. So that's just out there. Nothing says you have to use a share drive, but they do kind of come in handy and they work actually really nicely. Okay, we are almost going to get to some playtime. We're just going to look at searching. So I mentioned this earlier. When you're in Drive, there's the search bar at the top and you can type in like whatever you want. So search atoms and a ton of stuff is going to pop up and you're like, oh, this is not the thing I'm looking for. This is kind of your quick, rough search. You'll notice right here in search results, it does pop up. It's like, oh, did you want to look for something more specific? So if you're in search results and you're like, dang, I know it was in a, I don't know, my Drive file. Okay, cool. I know the title says this. So if I do title only, now it's not going to tell me things that have the word atoms in it, but only what is in the title if it says the word atoms. So there's that piece. There was also something new when I went in and I was looking at the slideshow for today. I don't remember always seeing this here. So I'm just in my drive. I didn't click on the search bar. I didn't do anything. I just clicked my drive. And notice right here, it's already prompting me, here, are you looking for something specific? So yeah, I'm looking for a Google site. Great. Here's all the Google sites you have access to. So there are some kind of quick options. So that's what you'll see here, type people and modified. But then there is a lot of really advanced stuff that you can do. If you're like, yeah, but I'm still not finding what I'm looking for, click on the little slider and then it will let you do all kinds of crazy things. So I'm looking for a document and I know I don't own it and it talks about fish. Go. I don't know if there's anything like that. Oh, there's a bunch of that. So it's a document. I don't own, oh, I do own it. I thought I said I did not own it. I own it and it talks about fish. Okay. I didn't have to know a whole lot to find a bunch of results. So even if your team, yeah, I'm just going to throw it into my drive and I'll find it later. It's really not too bad because even if you forget what it's called, there are ways to bring it back. Or if you're like, dang, okay, I know I talked about fish and I haven't touched it in a year. You might say, okay, I know it was done after August of 23 and it was before I don't know, I'm just making stuff up, March 1st of 24. It was sometime in there. Okay, go. Here's all the things that fit that criteria. So there's ways you can kind of get around, oh, I don't have it in a folder that I remembered, I don't know what it's called, I don't know where it is. There's usually always a way to get back to it. So there's tons of search options, lots and lots and lots. Usually the two that I use the most are type, like, dang, I know I had a slideshow about this. Owner, it's either owned by me or it's not owned by me. Or if I know someone specific owns it, like I can do, Tori, if you're on and listening, I'm using you. Sorry, I hope that's okay. Okay, a slideshow, and I know this person owns it. Let me see what I got. These are all the things that she owns that I have access to. So there's lots and lots and lots of ways you can go about finding what you're looking for. So searching, advanced search. Okay, we have arrived at some playtime. I think, yeah, we'll actually go maybe about 7 minutes. So it says 5. I'm just going to set a timer on my watch for 7. Please unmute, drop questions in chat, take a break if you need a break, and whatever you need, let me know. I'm just going to pause for a second, not throw new information at you guys, and let you play for a moment. Okay, so that's been our 7 minutes of kind of play explore. I just have a couple more things I wanted to show you guys. So if you are looking at a My Drive section that looks like this, and it's just documents on documents on documents and documents, what you can do is you can sort of do what we've called here is like repair. So there's no need to go back and like, oh, I can't fix it. It's too far gone. So we can like repair. And then I also want to talk about sharing. And this is typically personal preference. How do you want things to look? Who do you want to be able to access? Right? It's all up to you. So what I've done is if I'm in My Drive, I have shared this folder with a bunch of people. So if I click on the folder, the 3 dots right next to it, and I go to share, and then one thing that's really, really nice, another kind of update from a little while back, is it gives me the option automatically. Do I just want to copy the link and send this to somebody? Or do I actually want to go into share settings? In this case, I actually want to go in because I want to see who have I shared it with and then kind of what's going on share-wise. So my AHS Science folder, I have fairly locked down. Now that I think about it, I don't really have anything. Like, I don't think I have a reason to keep it this locked down, but I just made it for myself and then, started sharing it with people as they came in. So I'm like, oh, I don't know this person, but someone's like, hey, can my friend look at your stuff? I'm like, okay, but they're just allowed to look at it because I've never met this person. Sure, they can view it. This is my student teacher. So I gave him access last year when he was observing so he could see all the things I'm doing. And then notice it says restricted. Only people with access can open the link. So this means that if pretty much any of you guys tried to access this link, it would not work. It would say you don't have access or you need permission. If you are like, you know what, I'm feeling generous. Anybody in the district can see this. It's all good. It's open. I don't mind. You can have that option. And then anyone with the link is quite literally anybody with the link, like open to the entire world publicly. If somebody finds the link to your stuff, they can see it. Now, some things I share like that. Like, for example, the slides from today, I shared as anyone with the link because I want anyone to be able to see it. If you happen to sign in with your personal account instead of your work account, I don't want that to stop you. So I have these as anybody with a link. And because it's just Google Drive stuff, like none of it is personal. It's not scary. But there are just some differences you may want to think about. Who do I want to see this? By default, every single thing that you put into your drive, like if I did a new document and it was like blah, 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 whatever. Notice there's a little lock sign right here. Everything defaults in Google as private to me. However, if I make something in AHS Science, which keep in mind is already shared with a bunch of people, and I go to make a document, Google tries to remind me every time, and I get really annoyed. And then I'm like, nope, they're just trying to help. They remind you, hey, the exact same people that can see the folder are going to see this because they can see every single thing inside that folder. So tip, if you're trying to make a family communication or I don't know, something for the community, you may make a folder that says like, shared with everyone. Okay, so it's all caps. Maybe I would color this one. I would do all my fancy emojis and characters, get it to the front. Shared with everybody. I go to share, and I say this is open to anybody with the link. And then do I want them to be able to view, comment, or edit? If I'm just trying to make newsletters and whatnot, I'd probably say viewer, and then I'm going to say done. There's nothing in here yet, but the entire folder is made public. And the way you can tell if the whole folder has been shared is there's that little person icon that shows up. So all of these are private except AHS Science and shared with everyone. So now anything I make and shared with anyone, or I'm sorry, shared with everyone, really in theory, if I copy this link and I put this into wherever we are right here, right? This is now public to anybody. Anybody can open this up and they would get a document that just says test. No, it's not going to limit anybody. And the way you can tell if you're looking at it is it has a little globe. Anyone in the whole world can see this. So just something to be aware of if you're trying to make things that are public facing and you don't want to have to adjust the share settings on every single file. You can adjust the entire folder and then everything you make within that folder, even if you have folders and folders and folders, it's all viewable by everybody. The last piece then, so we've already talked shortcuts, is kind of this, all right, my drive's messy. What do I do? If this is where you're at, there's a bunch of things you can do. You can start from how does my brain work? Do I want folders and folders and folders? Do I want a bunch of folders just to live in my drive and organize that way? Like, what do I want? And then what you can do is as you're going through your day, your week, your month, your year, anytime you open a document where you're like, dang, that probably should live in a folder called blah, you move it there. The way you do that is if you are in, okay, I'll do this one because this probably should live in my subfolder. You open a file. Okay, that was apparently the wrong one to open because now I just froze everything. Let's try a different one. It's not going to freak out. Okay, I opened this Amoeba Sisters thing. And I'm like, oh, that really should be in AHS Science. But because it's not organized, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say 3 dots, organize. And then I can choose where do I want it to live. I'm going to say, excuse me, Google. Well, I would have clicked on biology, and then I would have clicked on move. But I think it got mad at me. So 3 dots, organize, biology, move. And now if I go back to my drive and I refresh, in theory, that Amoeba Sisters PDF is going to be gone because I've moved it and it's not there anymore. So now it's no longer in this hot mess pile. It's nicely sorted into a folder. If you're like, yeah, but Jessie, I have so many things about whatever, dogs. I need all this dog stuff to get moved into a dog folder. I'm not actually going to do it because I haven't looked through here. I don't know what it is yet. But if you're like, yeah, I need all of this, you can Control A. So I'm just like hovering up here. I do Control A, and Google tells me there have been 70 items selected. What I can do is I think, right click, organize, and either add shortcuts. No, I don't want to do that. Okay, I guess we're gonna have to do old school. Control A, and then you can drag and drop this wherever you would like it to go. So notice, okay, when I did that, I do Control A, and I drag this. It puts them all into one little block. And then when I hover over my drive, it says, okay, it opens, and now I can see HS Science. Now that opens. Okay, dogs are probably part of bio. Now that opens. And then as I move down, it kind of scrolls with me. Oh, these are part of whatever. And now I'm not going to do that because I don't actually know what's in here. But you can move large chunks of things at a time if you would like. And then I don't know if you saw, but it gives me this little error message. You don't have permission to move files out of ILEPD. So that is one catch with share drives. Because I don't own it, I'm not always allowed to move it around. I can make a copy of it and move the copy, but because I don't own the actual file, I can't always move things that are in a share drive. But you can do that Control A and then move so that you can do large chunks of things at a time. And then what else you can do, and no shame, because I have done this more than once. Where would this be right now? Oh, this lovely folder. These are my favorite. I call this my junk drawer. So if you open miscellaneous, and July 2022 is just the last time I went and like cleared out all the old junk that I'm probably never going to use again. I have miscellaneous. Inside miscellaneous, please note there's another miscellaneous folder. This is hot mess junk drawer. It is a disaster in here. It's all kinds of just old stuff and random things like HHS. That was my first high school that I started teaching at in 2012. I'm probably not going to need those things again. But my brain's like, well, I mean, I have unlimited storage. And like, do I really want to get rid of it? What if I need it again? So I've definitely made a junk drawer. And then that way, if you ever need to look for it later, it's not gone, but it's also not cluttering your drive. So it is totally okay if you wanted to Control A, like everything. Okay, maybe not everything, because then you would just have one folder called miscellaneous. But you can select a huge chunk of things and pop them into what's called a miscellaneous folder. If you're like, oh, I just needed to have folders, please. I just need to not look at all the documents. So there's my quick little, I don't know, trick is to have a junk drawer, have a miscellaneous folder. That way it's not really gone. It's just kind of out of sight, shoved in the junk drawer. Okay, that should be the last piece. So I think we'll get you guys out of here.